Hi there, Capricorn. I'm EllaAradia, and welcome to your December 2025 Psychic Tarot reading. This reading is for my Capricorn Earth signs, where we'll be exploring the overall energies and themes for the month ahead, as well as taking a deeper dive into how these might be playing out for you in your life. This is a general reading. It's going to resonate a little bit differently for all of you. What I do find though is there's always a shared theme that runs through the collective of all of you Capricorn signs. So take what feels aligned to you and just leave the rest. And before we jump in, a big thank you to all of you who are supporting my channel by liking and subscribing. So if you enjoy this reading and you haven't already done that, please do. It helps the channel out a lot. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe, and then you can get notified when the next videos are up. So Capricorn, let's jump in. I always like to just tune into the energies first, Capricorn, before I start pulling cards. Just like to see what comes through. I feel like there's some lessons this month around standing in your truth, and this could be around a decision that you've made or a path that you're taking. For some of you, this is simply about standing up for yourself and speaking your truth. And I do feel like you've been dealing with a little bit of a challenging situation. I see somebody who, for those of you in the workplace, it does feel like somebody who's in a role of authority, like a boss or a manager. And for others, you know, this is your partner. And for me, it's this sense of, you know, letting things slide in order to keep the peace, keep the harmony. But of course, at some point there comes a cost, because to me, it's this sense of putting your needs to one side. You know, you're compromising your own happiness to kind of keep that peace around you. And I do feel there's a big invitation this month, you know, from the universe to really embody the lessons of the last few months, these soul lessons, in terms of, you know, whatever you feel you haven't been getting from your person or your situation. You know, when we look at that as a mirror for ourselves, in terms of it mirroring, you know, the relationship that we're having with ourselves, that is what the universe is asking you to really start embodying right now. Really demonstrate that, not just to yourself, but to the universe, that you've learned those lessons. You know, if you haven't felt appreciated or respected, you know, it's often a sign that on some level you may not be doing that for yourself. And it is time to really start doing that now. So with your overall energies, we have the Wheel of Fortune. This is a card of change. And I often look at this card as some kind of divine timing moment. It's like your destiny in motion. And it often comes in when the universe is wanting to perhaps put you on a different path, to redirect you. And whatever that is, you know, it is always something that ultimately is for your highest good. And in terms of career, you know, if this is a job that has recently come to a close, or one that you're thinking about leaving, because I do have this feeling of you just not feeling kind of valued and appreciated. And, you know, rather than allowing that to kind of get you down, I think it's about, you know, seeing that as a sign here that perhaps it is time for a change. Perhaps you are meant to go in a different direction. You are meant to be somewhere doing something where you do feel valued and appreciated. And so for some of you, something may have come to a close already, you know, whether that is also a relationship. What lies in your recent past, the Page of Cups, some kind of new beginning, Sometimes that can be a new emotional beginning inside of ourselves. And, you know, being in this place of openness to something genuine, something real. Your current energies, the Five of Pentacles. This is exactly the energies that I'm talking about. This is a card of change, and sometimes a feeling of instability. You know, it can often be when something, you know, comes to a close, or, you know, something kind of breaks down that we feel, you know, that we have to kind of move on from. You know, sometimes that can be, you know, a sense of just feeling like the rug's been pulled out from beneath your feet, and it's something you feel like you're having to let go of and move on from. Sometimes a card of loss. But also within the energies of this card, you know, is a message of moving on in, you know, more of these energies of your worth and your value. And, you know, this is what I'm talking about, the embodying of, you know, these really important soul lessons that, you know, have been going on this year for you. Your feelings towards your situation, the Magician, a card of potential. And I very much feel that that is you right now in this process of really recognizing your potential, what you have to give. And a little reminder here that, you know, you have everything that you need in order to, you know, move towards and to create what you really want in life. You know, everything is already inside of you, even if that is, you know, qualities that we're talking about here. You know, you are enough, you are good enough, you have enough experience, you have the skills. You know, you may not know everything yet, but you have enough to, you know, really move towards something more fulfilling here. And to really go where those skills and that experience and those qualities are valued and appreciated. And not only that, but utilized. Now, for some of you, in terms of career, you know, this is a divine timing moment. And it's often when, you know, we step into our purpose, our life purpose. So whatever has come to a close, it really does feel to me that it is redirecting you to move you closer towards stepping into your life purpose. And of course, a lot of the time we do that through our career. And it may well be that some kind of new offer or opportunity came in for some of you. So what lies in your challenge? The Four of Pentacles. And to me, I just feel that's a very clear message to, you know, just, you know, don't hold back. Let yourself be seen. Get yourself out there. You know, this is a card of holding on too tightly to something. And, you know, it may be for some of you, there is this kind of holding on to the past in some way. That could be this job that's completed. It may be, you know, a person in terms of relationships, you know, something that has perhaps come to a close, but there's a little bit of a struggle to maybe really let go of that person. And your hidden influence here is the Emperor. And I feel like this is who you have been dealing with, or for some of you, you're still dealing with this person. As, you know, the Emperor represents, you know, usually someone who's in a position of authority, which is why, you know, that could be someone perhaps in a higher role in the workplace for some of you. And in terms of relationships, you know, this can be someone who is showing up perhaps in a little bit of a controlling way, you know, wants to be, you know, very much the authority in the connection. not an energy that really leads with their heart or their emotions particularly. And, you know, this may have been something that was perhaps lacking in this connection, you know, not feeling like your needs were met on an emotional level here. And I do feel there's a bit of a lesson here in just kind of trusting what's unfolding here, Capricorn, and knowing that, you know, it is leading you to greater potential, you know, whether that is in a new relationship or your career or whatever that is you might be involved in. It might be a project that you're involved in. And, you know, it might just involve, you know, those last little bits of letting go in order to fully step into this. And if you can, just try to flow with that. Try to flow with the change of, you know, this wheel of fortune. Even, you know, even if you can't quite see where it's heading just yet, just try to embrace that and, you know, not cling, you know, too tightly to the past, because that at some point can actually hold you back. Your advice from the universe, we have the Eight of Swords, often represents, you know, when we're feeling stuck, feeling trapped, feeling stuck. You know, often this is just limiting negative thoughts that we're having, perhaps about ourselves, our situation. And really, I do feel it's about perhaps getting more into the bigger picture of looking at perhaps why something has broken down, why something has come to a close or a completion, and understanding through that there is more for you, even if you can't see, you know, where the road is heading just yet. You know, it is leading to something, you know, where there is the, you know, that greater potential for you. So trust your heart on this. Get a little bit out of the head, more into the heart. Listen to what your heart's saying, you know, and use that wisdom to really guide your steps forward. And don't be afraid to move forward. Don't be afraid to kind of let go of the past and, you know, take this new step forward in yourself. And in your outcome, we have the King of Cups. And for those of you that this relates to love, whatever decisions and choices you do make, you know, as long as you are truly making them from, you know, a place of your truth, you're moving forward in those lessons of, you know, embodying those lessons of worth and value, you know, recognizing, you know, what you have to give, the qualities that you have to share, that will ultimately lead you to your King of Cups here, someone who can, you know, give you what you truly want, you know, someone that can connect very deeply and, you know, hold that emotional depth and that container of safety for you. And in terms of career, you know, that is moving you towards something that is absolutely emotionally fulfilling for you. So I'm going to leave it there, Capricorn. If this reading resonated, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And as always, no matter what comes through in a reading, moving forwards, always trust what feels right for you. So thanks so much for being here, and I wish you a great month ahead.